After traveling the world with my partner for over a year, I woke up alone for the first time in a long time. This lifestyle and our love for each other caused our relationship to become codependent. But to be honest, I think we were codependent long before traveling. Anyone who might be struggling with this can probably relate, and if you're not in this situation, maybe you can learn something from me, because this is how I lost myself in love. Have you ever fallen so deeply in love that your souls intertwine? For me, it happened slow, but once we were ready, we tumbled into each other, wrapping soul within soul, braided together so tightly I couldn't tell which strings were mine and which were him, and neither could he. Objectively problematic, but we didn't seem to mind. He fueled and supported so many facets of my being. We loved each other so thoroughly that it quenched the parched corners of my soul, that it drowned out the wildflower's quiet yearning for water. The wildflower that grows in my heart, that guides me to needed solitude, that beckons to greater freedom and exploration. The wildflower who roots me in tending to my own needs and living by my own rhythm began to wither. As time went on and our braid wrapped into a self-perpetuating Ouroboros at the center of the universe, I let her die. Because I am not I am we. Our braid is now a tangle that seemed impossible to unravel. The more I pulled, the worse it gets. Our lives, our souls are so enmeshed, I forgot how to be on my own. Whenever I try to pull some threads away, experience life on my own, I trip on the strings and stumble. I try to reach for other people, other connections, and the strings I tied around my own wrists pull me back. I try to speak and find myself gasping and sputtering as the strings knot up in my throat, and I retreat. I follow my strings back home to our nest of tangled thread, where we wait, ready for us to return and wrap us in love. The tension in the thread loosens, and I can breathe here. However, no amount of love can quell the place in my heart where the wildflower grew, the place only I can water. And soon enough, her withered stem crumpled, her roots shriveled, and the earth of my wild soul, the part that belonged to me and me alone, turned to dust and blew away with my lover's kiss, leaving me with an empty void in my heart that no amount of outer love could fill. When you fall in love with someone and braid your lives together, you learn that being alone together is a delightful experience. When you fall in love with someone and your threads get lost in each other and the braid gets tangled into one, you can feel a deep loneliness in always being together. This shared, unrelenting loneliness and isolation was the catalyst for greater change. Together. But changing together did not fill the void. I thought if I ignored it, it would shrink. I thought talking about it would cause it to swallow away everything I loved and leave me in darkness. So I suppressed it. But unlike the wildflower, the void thrives on neglect. It eventually grew so large, neither of us could ignore it. I had to shine a light on it, share the ugly truth with my partner. But in doing so, nothing was destroyed like I feared. Shining the light revealed that at the core of our knotted mess is a strong braid built out of the fibers of unconditional love. That love helped us to face the truth. And the only way to be free of this tangle is to cut the knot. Let my strings blow in the wind, recollect my essence, and relearn to nurture the earth of my soul and tend to my wildflower alone. To give myself my full attention, to spend my days honoring my heart's wishes, feeding my soul and answering to no one. Doing everything on my own time and my own way, reconnecting to my body, my voice, and opening myself to reconnecting with others, to let my soul sing out and call a tribe to me. And because he truly loves me, because we want to be partners with fully nourished souls, because he trusts in our connection, he let me go. In fact, we cut the strings together, and this act only proved to me how deep our love runs. How true love is when you can let someone go, which of course made being alone and free even harder. But I still had to do this. This is a pain I embrace. This pain leads to growth. So here I am, no strings but my own, exploring Bali and rediscovering myself, and feeling a new wildflower begin to blossom within. Hi friends, I just wanted to sit down and chat with you a little bit more about the subject of this video, codependency, and how to heal from it, and low-key serial monogamy, and talk more about this subject and red flags that you can check within yourself to see if this is what's happening to you if this is your relationship. And also just open up a little bit more about my experience traveling with a partner, if that's something you're thinking about doing as well. So I'm guilty of serial monogamy and also being in a codependent relationship. Neither of those things started with my knowledge or intention, but I think deep down, you really have to check at the root of why these behaviors and patterns arise in yourself, because they are both running. You're running from yourself. You're running from being alone. And you have to check in with why. Why do you feel uncomfortable being alone? Why do you feel like you have to have a partner? And for me personally, it felt like I spent so much of my life not being in any really serious committed relationship that once I had it and had someone loving me and loving someone and feeling like someone was always on my team and on my side, I got really hooked on that feeling. It felt safe, it felt secure, and it felt like I didn't want to be alone again. So I continuously found myself in committed romantic relationships, serial monogamy. And I think that is how codependency can start, because you kind of run from that alone time. You forget to fill your own cup up, especially if you're, constantly like in the honeymoon phase. You can really start to lose yourself. And then once I found what I like to consider, what I know to be true love, I was just a complete goner. I was not ready to handle that sort of love when I first got it. And even though we didn't start dating till years down the road, I still didn't know how to handle being so in love with somebody and having them love me just as much, if not even more, in return. We really became a partnership and a team, and that can feel so good, especially if you hadn't had it in a long time. But when you start, this is the first red flag, when you start deferring to your partner instead of checking in with yourself and your own intuition and letting them just always decide what's right or always pick the path instead of, hey, I kind of feel like we should go this way. Or like, I'm getting like the impulse to go that way. Be like, no, we have to go this way. And be like, oh, okay. And just kind of like defer to them and let them lead the way. That is you being steered away from your own intuition and your own inner knowing. And that intuition and inner knowing is always right and is always leading you to where you want to be. And for me, I'm learning to stand my ground when I'm feeling my impulse and intuition start to guide me instead of being steered away to somebody else's path. And this can happen with friendships, colleagues, bosses, but when you spend a lot of time with someone, especially traveling, it tends to happen a lot. So that's one red flag, and you can correct it by feeding your intuition, honoring yourself and honoring your intuition and listening to it. The other red flag that might show that you're in a codependent relationship is when your partner's emotions become your own and vice versa, where they're unhappy, oh, I have to do everything I can to help you be happy. And you take on that feeling like you can't be happy unless they're happy as well. When you share so much of your life with someone, this can happen a lot. This can happen super naturally. And of course, it's good to be empathetic and understanding and supportive of the people around you, but not to the point where you are sacrificing yourself, your own emotions, your own energy and well-being regularly to help support the other person. The best way for any relationship to be full and healthy is that you take the time to tend to your emotions, fill your own cup up, and then come together with your partner and just enjoy your full cups together and have a pool party, a splash party. That was weird, but you get what I'm trying to say. You are the only person responsible for your own happiness. That is your power. That is in your jurisdiction. While it can be super nice and fun to be with somebody, they can make you feel happy. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to fill your own cup up. And when you are in a long-lasting, long-term relationship where, maybe you're doing something crazy like traveling the world together, you have to remember to prioritize that. You can't put that on somebody else. You can't expect anyone else to fill your cup up for you. I like to say like, hey, I hear you, but I'm running on empty right now. I gotta fill my own cup up right now. And even if that's not received very well, and I'm in the habit of taking that not receiving well to heart, you have to remember that, hey, even now I just need to take this time for myself, and I can come back and we can make things right and we can both be happy. So that's what I'm working on. Those are the two main things. And carving the space for myself to really connect to my intuition and to fill my cup up, and for him to do the same, has been such an amazing experience so far. The first few days, the first day really being alone was really difficult. I spent a lot of time on my phone, spent a lot of time working on my computer, just kind of like shutting out the world. We FaceTimed a lot. It was hard to not be with the person I've been around for so long. But then I realized I was ignoring this yearning in my heart to go out and have a me day in nature and just do everything that my heart has been asking me to do. So I was like, why am I ignoring this? I went out, I did it, I had the best day. I went on a hike, I got some tea, I journaled, I got the footage for this video. And I've just been doing everything in my own time, in my own way, and not having to consider anybody else. And it has been so healing, so nice, so relaxing. And I want to preface by saying my relationship, it wasn't like demanding. It was a very equal partnership, but you being equal, you're always considering somebody else. So taking this time to only consider myself has just been so needed. And it feels so good to reconnect with myself in this way. And if you're struggling with codependency, or serial monogamy as well, I highly encourage you to take a break. Take a break from your partner, take a break from dating, and reconnect with who you are. Think about what you want. What do you want to do? What would be your ideal night? And just romanticize your life alone and cozy up. I've been rewatching The Winx Club, which was like a childhood favorite TV show of mine. And it's just been so nice to like cozy up in bed, watch that by myself, no one judging me or not feeling like, oh, maybe we should be like watching a movie together or something. It's just doing exactly what I want, and it's so freeing. The other thing I want to touch on is traveling full time and traveling with a partner. I've been traveling full time for over a year now with my partner, and it has been an amazing experience to see the world and be in nature and be with him, but it's also been incredibly lonely. I think a lot of the time travel, especially on social media, is very romanticized. But when you travel full time, you don't spend time long enough, or at least maybe other people's experience are different, but I usually stay in a place somewhere for a month. And that was never enough time for me to like really integrate and make a community or make lasting friends. So it made me really reliant on my partner to fuel all of my social aspects. And it got really lonely. And you realize that having a community is such a beautiful thing and such a blessing. And we left all our friends behind to travel. So it put a lot of pressure on us. So that's something to be prepared for if you're thinking about traveling with a partner. Another thing is I've also traveled alone, and traveling alone made me realize that sharing experiences with other people is everything. It's one of the most beautiful parts of living as a human, is seeing something incredible or doing something incredible and then sharing that moment with another individual. So I'm so grateful I've had a partner to go on this journey with me and to share so many beautiful, magical moments together. But I'm also so happy that we're taking this time apart and taking some alone time, very intentional alone time, to reconnect with ourselves. And then when we come back together, it'll be even fuller, even stronger, and even more certain. So that's kind of my ramblings about codependency, serial monogamy, and traveling with a partner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful or informative or made you just feel less alone. I definitely could have used something like this. So I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you for spending your time with me. Love you.